So in previous class we have discussed class 1 we have discussed about the different wavelengths. Wavelength for electron 12.26 by root V naught angstroms, and wavelength of proton 0.286 by root V naught angstroms, and wavelength of deuteron, this is 0.202 by root V naught angstroms, and wavelength of alpha particle 0.101 by root V naught angstrom. This V naught is accelerating potential, not velocity. It is accelerating potential measured in volts. And for neutron we have taken lambda n is equals to 30.8 by root T. Here T is temperature. T is temperature. We discussed all this in the previous class. Now, if a particle of mass m, is projected horizontally with a velocity u and making an angle theta with the horizontal, then what is the de Broglie wavelength? Let it, this instant velocity is v. Then we can what is the component of velocity here? Then this becomes v theta, means this becomes u is equals to v cos theta. U is equals to v cos theta. Horizontal velocity remains constant in projectile motion. Therefore, v cos theta is the velocity. U is equals to v cos theta implies v is equals to u by cos theta. What de Broglie lambda is equals to h by mv. H by mv implies lambda is equal to h by mv, means u by cos theta. This implies lambda is equals to h cos theta by mu. Lambda is equals to h cos theta by mu is the de Broglie wavelength. If a particle of mass m is projected horizontally with a velocity u and making an angle theta after some time, then what is the de Broglie wavelength? Means lambda is equals to h cos theta by mu is the de Broglie wavelength. Now we know that lambda is equals to h by mv. Lambda is equals to h by mv. Lambda is equals to h by mv. We know that here m is the mass, v is the velocity. Now if mass increases, then what happens? Wavelength decreases. Velocity increases, wavelength decreases. So if a particle has mass 1 kg, and velocity is equals to 1 meter per second, then what happens to the wavelength lambda? Then wavelength lambda is equals to h by m. H means 6.6 into 10 power minus 34 by mass is 1 kg, velocity is 1, that becomes 6.10 power minus 34 meters. Okay, therefore this is what? 6.6 into 10 power minus 24 angstroms. Therefore it is very small. Hence heavy mass particles cannot show diffraction effects. It cannot show diffraction effects. They cannot show diffraction effects. Okay. Now if Rn is the radius of Bohr's nth orbit, let us say this is the Bohr's orbit. If Rn is the radius of Bohr's nth orbit, if electron moves like this in the Bohr's nth orbit, the electron moves like this, the Bohr's nth orbit, then what is the de Broglie wavelength of that electron? De Broglie wavelength is, see, wavelength means generally we take this is the wavelength, this is lambda, this is the wavelength, means from you start here and comes like this. This is the one. So here to here, this is one wavelength. From here to here, another wavelength. From here to here, another wavelength. From here to here, another wavelength. These are, let us say, n number of wavelengths in that orbit. Therefore, total wavelength is n lambda. Total wavelength is. Now, what is the total length now? This becomes circumference 2 pi r. Therefore, n lambda is equals to 2 pi rn. N lambda is equals to 2 pi rn. Therefore, rn is equals to radius of nth orbit. Rn is equals to therefore wavelength, different wavelength lambda is equals to 2 pi rn by 2 pi rn by n. 2 pi rn by n. Wavelength of electron in the nth orbit is 2 pi rn by n. 2 pi rn by n. There, but radius of nth orbit is equals to, we know that 0.529 n square angstroms. We know this from the Bohr's theory. I have discussed this. We have derived this one from Bohr's theory. Rn is equals to 0.529 n square angstroms. Therefore, lambda n is equals to 2 pi by n into 0.529 n square angstroms is the wavelength of electron in any orbit. Now, matter waves, important point is matter waves are not electromagnetic. They are not electromagnetic. Matter waves are not electromagnetic. Now, another one is, now if a electron of de Broglie wavelength of lambda, electron of de Broglie wavelength, electron of de Broglie wavelength lambda falls on a X-ray metal, then the threshold wavelength of emitted X-ray is, then if the electron of de Broglie lambda falls on a target of an X-ray metal, X-ray tube, then the threshold wavelength emitted by the X-ray is, or we can call it as threshold wavelength or cutoff wavelength. So for the X-ray to emit a wavelength, for the X-ray to emit a photon, for X-ray to emit an electron, photon, for X-ray tube or X-ray metal to emit a photon, then energy of the instant electron should be equal to the energy of the, this is photon, X-ray photon. This is the electron, incident electron. This is X-ray photon. This is the incident electron. This is the incident electron. For this to emit, the minimum energy of the electron should be equal to energy of the photon. For this metal to emit X-ray photon, the energy of electron should be equal to energy of the photon. Therefore, energy of photon is equals to energy of electron. So, what is energy of photon? H nu is energy of electron, half mv square, kinetic energy, half mv square. Plus H nu is equals to, in terms of energy, we can take it as p square by 2m. P square by 2m. Here m is mass of electron. And v is the velocity, p is the momentum of electron. Now, but we know that lambda is equals to h by p for electron. For electron, we can take lambda is equals to h by p, implies p is equals to h by lambda, implies p square is equals to h square by lambda square. P square is equals to h square by lambda square. Therefore, h nu is equals to p square by 2m, means h square by 2m lambda square. H square by 2m lambda square. Now this is the energy of photon. Now if cutoff wavelength of photon is photon is equals to lambda naught, then what is the energy? Then h nu is equals to hc by lambda naught. H nu is equals to hc by lambda naught. This implies hc by lambda naught is equals to h square by 2m lambda square. Here lambda naught is the cutoff wavelength of X-ray photon. Lambda is the wavelength of electron. This is photon. Okay, so this is electron wavelength. This is electron wavelength. Lambda naught is wavelength of photon. This says h gets cancelled, implies lambda naught is equals to 2m lambda square c by h. 2m lambda square c by h. Okay, 2m lambda square by, this is a very important, I have given this example because you can differentiate between electron wavelength and photon wave. That's why I have given this example to differentiate between electron and photon. Now let us see Davison and Germer experiment now. Now let us start. Let us explain Davison and Germer experiment. Davison and Germer experiment. It is the first experimental evidence that supports that electrons are behaving as matter waves. We know that so far we know that electron having a mass m, charge q, velocity v. Therefore, we are treating electron as a particle. Now, Davison and Germer, they proved that electrons are behaving as matter waves. Actually, this is an accidental support. Means, well, they are trying to study the reflection of electrons by nickel target. Incidentally, they got that electrons are behaving as matter waves. This is the first experimental support for the electrons behaving as matter waves. Here, electrons are generated in the electron gun. This entire strip is called as electron gun. Electrons are emitted from the electron gun by heating a filament with a low tension battery. LTB means low tension battery by the phenomena of thermoionic emission. Now the electrons are then accelerated by this high tension battery by the potential V0. The electrons are accelerated by a high tension, HTB means high tension battery, and the accelerated electrons are then made to fall on a nickel target, nickel crystal or nickel target. The electrons get reflected by this nickel target are then caught by a Faraday's cylinder. It is a Faraday's cylinder which can act as a detector for number of electrons received. Means it can measure the current due to that reflected electrons. Hence we connect a galvanometer here. We can connect a galvanometer here. Here to take the reading for different angles, this was mounted on a circular scale. This was the Faraday cylinder is mounted on a circular scale which can read from 20 degrees to 90 degrees. Now for different angles, for different scattering angles phi, the intensity was plotted. I have taken the arrow downwards because intensity is coming downwards. So here intensity was plotted for different angles varying this potential. This is the setup of Davison and Germer experiment. Now here electrons are generated in the electron gun by heating a filament with a low tension battery. The electrons generated by thermoionic emission are then made to fall on a nickel target. The electrons reflected by the nickel target are caught by the Faraday cylinder. The Faraday cylinder will act as a detector for electrons and measures the current or intensity. And then this is mounted on a circular scale to get the intensity at different angles. Now if this is theta, let us take this one as theta, this one as theta. This is theta, the middle one is phi. Now first keep the accelerating potential at 44 volts. Then plot a graph of phi versus intensity. The graph is something like this. Now increase the accelerating potential to 48 volts. Then take plot of phi versus potential phi versus accelerating potential V0. Then increase this accelerating potential to 54 volts and again vary the scattering angle phi. Then plot a graph. Again increase it and we get a series of graphs. Now they observe that if we are getting spurs, this is a small spur, the spur is increasing, the spur is the bump, the spur is further increased and it is again drops off slowly. So maximum spur or bump appears at 54 volts at actual potential of 54 volts and an angle of 50 degrees. Therefore it having a maximum amplitude there. Therefore we can take this. This is the we can take this one as the our experimental purpose. These parameters for our experimental purpose. Therefore, we get a maximum spur at 50 degrees and V0 is 54 volts. Now they calculated the wavelengths. Now how they calculate the wavelengths is, now from Bragg's equation, what we have? From Bragg's equation, 2d sin theta is equals to n lambda. 2d sin theta is equals to n lambda. D is called as crystal spacing. D is crystal spacing. The distance between the two adjacent layers of a crystal. This is the arrangement of points in lattice is called as a lattice. Arrangements of atoms is called as lattice. So this is the lattice planes. This is called this is the two planes is called as a crystal spacing D. Crystal spacing D, that is equals to 0.91 angstroms. 0.91 angstroms for nickel. For nickel, this is fixed in India or America or anywhere in the universe. Therefore, the distance to two planes is 0.91 angstroms per nickel. 0.91. And theta, how can we get theta? Theta is Bragg's angle. Bragg's angle. It is not the diffracting angle. It is the angle made by the incident ray with the Bragg plane. Theta is, remember, it's not a diffracting angle. It is the angle made by the incident ray with the Bragg plane. Then what here? Theta plus phi plus theta is equals to 180 degrees. Implies 2 theta plus phi is equals to 180 degrees. Implies theta is equals to 180 minus 5 by 2. But where we got at 50 degrees. We got the maximums per at 50 degrees. Therefore, 180 minus 50 by 2, that is 130 by 2, that is 65 degrees. That is 65 degrees. I think you got this one. Theta plus phi plus theta is equals to 180 degrees. 2 theta plus phi 180. Theta is 180 minus 5 by 2. But we get the maximums per at 50 degrees. Therefore, 180 minus 50 by 2, that becomes 65 degrees. The Bragg's angle, that is 65 degrees. N is order of the spectrum. First order spectrum and second order spectrum. We consider this as the first order spectrum. Then N is equals to 1. Then this becomes 2 into. That becomes 2 into D is 0.91 into 10 power minus 10. 0.9 angstroms into sine 65 degrees is equals to 1 into lambda. Plus lambda we got it as 1.67 angstroms. We got this lambda as 1.67 angstroms. Now these are electrons now. For electron, what is the d wavelength of electrons? Which are accelerated potential of V0 volts. For electrons, wavelength lambda is equals to 12.26 by root V0 angstroms. We have derived this one. So this becomes 12.26 by we got the maximums per at 54 volts of accelerating potential. 54 volts of accelerating potential. We got the maximums per by root 54 angstroms. If you do this one, you get this one as 1.65 angstroms. 1.65 angstroms. There is a close agreement between the two wavelengths calculated by two different techniques, isn't or not? For the same experiment. So we got the two different, we have calculated the wavelength by two different techniques in the same experiment. We got the result is same. This indicates that it is behaving like a wave and gets diffracted. X-rays gets diffracted. Therefore, it is giving the wave nature of electrons. This is the Davis and Germer experiment. We see X-rays next class.